What up, cucks? It's your boy, the Hater, and today's video is a specific request from one Jay Irvin, who donated to the Hater. Thank you so much for your donation. The Hater appreciates it, and more importantly, the Hater is invigorated by things like this because it validates that what I'm doing is enjoyed by the people. So with that being said, we're going to talk today 25 reasons why Orange Cassidy sucks. This is a great suggestion as well because there's a lot of reasons why Orange Cassidy sucks, you know. Some of these videos, like the Batista video, you know, around reason 22, 23, I had to actually start thinking, right? Because it's harder to find reasons why someone's great than why someone sucks. But with Orange Cassidy, in like 35 seconds, I had all the reasons. I wrote them down, and here we are. Cucks, let's get to it. Reason 1 why Orange Cassidy sucks. He's going for the Ryan Gosling look, and I don't like Ryan Gosling, motherfucks. Do we really need both Ryan Gosling and Ryan Reynolds? If you ask me, the answer to that is no. You could take one of them and give the other roles of the other guy to the first one, and it would be the same exact thing, right? Personally, I have to say that Ryan Gosling is the better of the two actors, but fuck him. I prefer Ryan Reynolds. What do you think of them apples? Reason number 2, his finishing move, the beach break, is essentially a backdrop. We have gone now from days of the stunner and the rock bottom to a backdrop, which is the default move of every creator wrestler when someone is coming towards them, running or being Irish whipped, right? That's just what everyone does, and this guy's move is basically a low-impact backdrop, right? He just picks the guy up and then just drops him. The guy always falls on his back, doesn't fall on his head or anything, right? He just picks him up in like an Alabama slam, but without like the legs being, around the head, and just drops him backwards, and then this is a viable finisher for some reason. Really, really dumb. Reason number 3, he is very, very small, motherfucks. He is tiny. If you ask me, they should put a mask on him, a bull mask, have him hang out with Roosh, and call him El Torito Dos. But they're not going to do that. They're going to keep going with Orange Cassidy. Reason number 4, he is not in good enough shape. Now, height is something you cannot control. If you're short, you're short. But at least be strong if you're a wrestler. If you're a normal person, do whatever the fuck you want. But if you're a wrestler, you got to be strong. That's why I've always respected Pac, and that's why I don't respect Orange Cassidy. Reason number 5, the Orange Punch, also known as the Superman Punch, should never be used by tiny wrestlers, especially not as a finisher or as a secondary finisher, right? Roman Reigns, who is a large man, I mean larger than Orange Cassidy, he's not even that big, but Roman Reigns uses the Superman Punch as a signature move, right? It's never a move, like when he hits a Superman Punch, you know it's never going to lead to a 3 count. But with Orange Cassidy, it does. So let me get this straight. A big, strong guy does it, and it's a 2 count. A tiny, small guy does it, and it's a 3 count. Fascinating how they do this. Fascinating. Reason number 6, he has no other discernible moves aside from that tilt-a-whirl DDT counter that every small wrestler uses on the big, dumb wrestlers, right? Big wrestlers have to wrestle like they're retarded when they wrestle people like Orange Cassidy, right? Because that's the only way Orange Cassidy can win is like if he's fighting Wardlow and Wardlow's retarded and runs into like corners and, you know, just like does dumb shit, like falls on his ass and, you know, lets the guy counter everything, you know? So, I don't like that Orange Cassidy has no discernible moves. Reason number 7, my personal favorite. What the fuck is he, right? What is he? What is Orange Cassidy? If you had to describe Orange Cassidy to someone that's never watched Orange Cassidy, how would you describe him, right? He is this weirdo. That's all he is. He's weird, motherfucks. So I don't like things that don't make sense, and he doesn't make sense. Reason number 8. Why is he named Orange? He doesn't wear orange things. There's nothing orange about him. It's just there so we can call him Freshly Squeezed Orange Cassidy, which is a really stupid name if you think about it because you don't freshly squeeze oranges. You have freshly squeezed orange juice, but he's not called freshly squeezed orange juice, which would unironically be a better name than Orange Cassidy. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what we're watching. Oh, it's Orange Cassidy? Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Reason number 9. The Best Friends had overstayed their welcome for years. And in my opinion, he didn't contribute much, except for Excalibur would say, you got to give the people what they want. And like Chuck and Trent would just hug each other and also hug Orange Cassidy, who never seemed to care, right? He didn't fit in that group at all. Reason number 10. The fans think that it's cool to dress like Orange Cassidy, and I hate that shit. Reason number 11. His gimmick is that he doesn't try, and that's extremely stupid. If you're not trying, why are you here, right? Think about it. If you or I don't try at our jobs, we're going to get fired or not get any more work, or depending on what your situation is, basically be left without a dime, right? But Orange Cassidy in kayfabe doesn't try, and despite not trying, they keep him around and even give him opportunities. Why? Why wouldn't Tony Khan sit him down and be like, bro, you got to try, right? So that's really dumb. Reason number 11, which I just said, cucks. Reason number 12, he has had literally 0 meaningful feuds and 0 meaningful moments. This guy has done fucking nothing. And that is because, reason number 13, he is just a wrestler. And that's what pisses me off the most. People pretend like Orange Cassidy is like this brilliant thing, right? They pretend like, oh, this is awesome. This is so smart. No, it isn't. He's just another guy. He's just another Sami Zayn, except he also acts more retarded, you know? So I don't like that at all. Reason number 14, another personal favorite of the haters. He has consistently beaten far better wrestlers than himself. Jericho, that's the worst example in my opinion. Wardlow, I think Samoa Joe. Like, this guy's beating like everybody, right? And he's a tiny jobber. Reason number 15, cucks. The irony is that he actually has some abilities. Like, I don't really see him botching very much, but he stifles his actual wrestling ability with a dumbass gimmick, right? This is a great gimmick to have for someone who sucks ass, right? This would be a great gimmick for like Jade Cargill, right? Not the goofy part, but like she doesn't need to try. She just picks someone up and does her move and that's it, right? That would work well. But Orange Cassidy can actually do some moves, but he refuses to do them. And instead he puts his hands in his pocket and does dumb shit like that. Like, the fact that he can do some of the moves that he does with his hands in his pocket shows that he has some level of athleticism. But instead of showcasing this, he hides it under a dumbass gimmick. Reason number 16, he wrestles for AEW, and AEW sucks, motherfucks. Reason number 17, he should be a jobber, but he isn't. Wow, how fascinating is that? He should be a jobber, but isn't a jobber. He would make quite the good jobber, right? Like, he could be a very good Funaki. You know what I mean? He just goes there and gets his ass whooped. In fact, the gimmick makes perfect sense for that, right? Because then if you want to give him a gimmick switch, you can just be like, now he's trying, and he can get some wins, right? But if he doesn't try, he's going to get his ass beat. That should be the natural consequence of not trying. It should be, you don't try, you get your ass beat, right? That's perfect for a jobber. But despite him having all of these jobber characteristics, he is not a jobber. He is actually quite a solid mid-carder. He's actually one of the, I hate to say it like this, but he's one of the stars of AEW. He's one of the people that they've pushed the most. Reason number 18. People cheer for him, but there is no reason why, right? Okay, the first time he did something stupid, you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, that's kind of different. But that's it. If he does it every match, if he starts every match with his hands in his pocket, why are you cheering for that? Why do you want this man to wrestle with his hands in his pocket? Why are you entertained by things that are that simple? You know what I mean? Maybe it's because the AEW fan base is just dumb. I don't know. It could be that. Reason number 19. The dumbass Miz kicks that he does. Oh, but hater, they're called the yes kicks. Daniel Bryan does them. No, they're called the Miz kicks because Miz is better than Daniel Bryan. And he decided to do the move as well. So now they're the Miz kicks for life, cucks. When he does this move, it's really dumb because he like kicks someone very lightly. And every single time, the person just stands there being like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, well, he's doing the same shit he does every match. Why don't you take this opportunity to just fucking pulverize him with a clothesline and then pick him up and hit your finish, right? Like, I can't believe that spot hasn't happened yet. Like, if they wanted to push a wrestler as being serious, like, they should put him in the ring with Orange Cassidy. Like, for example, like, Kill Switch, right? If he's going to go from being Luchasaurus to being like an actual monster heel, it should be like, that should be the first match he has. Him versus Orange Cassidy. Cassidy does the kicks. Like, after the first kick, or even before the first kick, Luchasaurus just big boots him, picks him up, does his finishing move, pins him with one foot. That's what should happen, right? That's what should happen with someone like Powerhouse Hobbs. He does that Powerhouse Hobbs just scoops him up, world's strongest slam, and pins him. Simple as that. That's what should happen. But, here we are. We have to entertain this dumb shit. Reason number 20. He is probably the worst person on the mic ever because he's never cut a promo. So it's like, you refuse to do like what I consider to be 80% of the work required of a wrestler. I don't know why you're here, cuck. And I don't know why you're getting pushed. There's people out there, like, when you hear they're like, oh, they should let this guy cut promos because he's good at promos. Oh, Karrion Kross is good at promos, right? It's like, well, then let him cut a promo. But if someone is not good at promos, give them an Orange Cassidy gimmick. I'm fine with that. But make him a jobber. If this person's ever going to be a star, what's the point, cucks? Reason number 21. And this one's going to go over a few people, and it's a personal reason of the personal favorite reason of the haters. Reason 21 too. So we had 7, 14, and 21, multiples of 7. That's just a coincidence, cucks. He has literally 0 personality. Now, I know some of you are thinking, no, hater, he does have a personality because you just said he doesn't care, he doesn't try, and all these other things. That's not a personality, right? That's just what we assume about him, right? People are like, oh, he must not be trying, right? It's never been explained why Orange Cassidy is retarded, right? He just came out one day, doesn't take it seriously, and people are like, that must be his personality. No, he doesn't have a personality. His personality is that the personality they're trying to put on him is that he's indifferent. But that doesn't work very well when you don't cut a promo, right? So I don't like the fact that he has 0 personality, meaning that there's no feud where it makes sense to put him in, right? Like the only thing that would make sense is like if he was like on Raw, let's say Orange Cassidy was on Raw and they like forced him to be in a tag team with Chad Gable. And Chad Gable was like, you have to try. And then he starts trying. Like that would be the only thing you can do with this guy, but they haven't done that, so kiss my ass. Reason number 22, which goes right off of that one. He has done essentially nothing for 5 years. He may have had the international or intercontinental or whatever the fuck, the Atlantic Championship, whatever the fuck they called it. The belts had like 16 names. Like he may have had that title here and there. He may have thrown Jericho into champagne, but he's done nothing of value, right? In other words, if Orange Cassidy debuted today, nobody would notice the difference. It would be like, oh, you would get the same reaction today as he has in 5 years, meaning he's not good at wrestling, meaning he hasn't improved, cucks. Reason number 23. He doesn't play this character well, right? If we establish the fact that his gimmick is that he's an indifferent ass, right? He needs to play that character well at least, but he doesn't, right? Because when he's getting his ass whooped, he makes the same faces that Karrion Kross makes. He makes the I'm in pain face or the oh, I'm going to get serious now face, right? Why? I thought he was indifferent. Why does he care all of a sudden? Why does he always care when he does a comeback? Doesn't make any sense. It's inconsistent, and I don't like it. Reason number 24. His entrance theme doesn't fit him at all. His entrance theme is like this Japanese wrestling beginning, where it's like this soft music, right? And then it's like, it's stupid, right? His entrance music should be like some type of like surfer boy music, right? It should be like, if you steal my sunshine. Remember that song from the 90s? I know it's up for me if you steal my sunshine. That should be his entrance music. Obviously, they're going to have to pay for that. Or anything by 98 Degrees. That would fit him more than his current entrance music, cuckolds. Reason number 25. He, like other small wrestlers, often beats people much stronger and bigger. And despite this, he is never presented as the underdog, right? And this is where my mini rant comes in, right? We can look at someone like Rey Mysterio, right? I remember that the day or two before the Royal Rumble that Rey Mysterio ended up winning, they had WWE put up odds to win the Royal Rumble. And Rey Mysterio had low odds. It was like 1 in 20, right? Because, he had the same odds as like Chavo Guerrero and Viscera, right? Now, Chavo Guerrero was getting a boost because he's Eddie Guerrero's nephew. Viscera gets a boost because he's a big guy, right? And Rey Mysterio doesn't get the big guy boost because he's small, and he gets the Eddie Guerrero boost. So that's why he was so low, right? But this points to something, right? Every single match Rey Mysterio had, he was the underdog, right? There was a time period, for example, where Rey Mysterio was like essentially a main eventer, and you had people like MVP, right? You had people like fucking, let's say like Lance Cade, rest in peace. People of that size and ability, right? Many mid-carders, Carlito, all these people that were clearly below Rey Mysterio on the card, right? And if you saw a match and it was like, let's say Finlay versus Rey Mysterio, William Regal versus Rey Mysterio, fucking Let's think of some other like lower card jobbers that Rey Mysterio wrestled against and that he soundly beat. Rey Mysterio versus Ziggler, right? People that are all bigger than Mysterio. In all of these matches, Rey Mysterio was the underdog, right? Because even though we all knew that there's no way that Dolph Ziggler, a mid-carder, is beating Rey Mysterio, in most cases, right? Dolph Ziggler is still bigger and stronger than Rey Mysterio. So Rey Mysterio was always billed as the underdog, hence his nickname, the Ultimate Underdog, right? The only match that I could think of was, it was like an ECW random-ass match, or maybe it was on Raw. It was Rey Mysterio versus Evan Bourne, right? And this was like the first time when they said, oh, this might be the first time, Cole, where Rey Mysterio is not the underdog, right? Because Evan Bourne, even though he's bigger and stronger, he's also like a jobber and new, right? So it's like, of course, everybody knew Rey Mysterio was going to win. And it was like, all right, it would be like quite the uphill battle and quite the career achievement for Evan Bourne to beat Rey Mysterio, right? Like when Del Rio beat Rey Mysterio, for example, it wasn't presented as, oh my God, what a career-making moment, even though it was, right? Because it's like, oh, of course the big guy beat the small guy. But with Orange Cassidy, he's always the favorite. Like, it'll be him and Wardlow, and they'll be like, oh, how is Wardlow going to deal with this offense? Oh, Wardlow really needs to slow down the pace. Like, Taz will say shit like that. Oh, he needs to slow down the pace before Orange Cassidy gets going. No, the commentary should be, Orange Cassidy needs to find a way to, like, destroy this larger man, right? But because Orange Cassidy is never billed as an underdog, right? And small guys are never billed as underdogs, like, it fails even more. You can look at Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan in WWE, of course, he had to wrestle bigger and better wrestlers, right? He was always the underdog, right? When he beat Cena, it was a huge deal, right? For a while, the Buzaiku knee strike was just called the knee that beat Cena, right? Like, they would just call that because they didn't know what to call it, because it was like, oh my God, Cena just like got dropped by this knee, and all of a sudden now, like, Cena got pinned clean, you know? Daniel Bryan was, despite this, he was always presented as the underdog. The entire storyline of him being a B-plus player is him proving that he shouldn't be the underdog, right? Him proving it against Orton, him proving it against Batista, him proving it against Triple H, right? But if you had, like, Orange Cassidy in this position, right? Or if you look at the way Daniel Bryan is booked in AEW, he's never booked as the underdog. Like, if you have like Daniel Bryan versus Powerhouse Hobbs, the story of the match will be like, oh my God, what chance does Powerhouse Hobbs have to beat the legend? Well, the answer is the answer is Powerhouse Hobbs would murder him in real life, and that's why Powerhouse Hobbs should win, at least sometimes, right? It's okay for Daniel Bryan or Orange Cassidy to win, but they have to do so as the underdog. Otherwise, what am I watching? Fantasyland? The small guy beats the big guy every time? When Cucky Rhodes, and I'll never forget this match because it was the most absurd thing I've ever seen in my life. Cucky Rhodes pinned the Great Khali with a fucking disaster kick, right? This is the same Great Khali that pinned Undertaker with one foot. Great Khali had fallen down the card. Cucky Rhodes beat him with a fucking disaster kick. Now, Cody Rhodes was an upper jobber, right? A mid-carder. He was a mid-level mid-carder, right? So, of course, he's going to beat Great Khali because Great Khali was like a jobber at that point. But I'll never forget the match because, number one, it was presented as a huge underdog moment. Like, Cody Rhodes pinned him and then ran away, right? He sold that part well. But despite this, it was so absurd that it didn't make any sense. Now, AEW seems to be asking, how can we make it more absurd? Well, you can have Orange Cassidy beat Wardlow and not treat it as the insane upset that it should be, right? Like, do you remember that match that they had? It was Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar. And the entire buildup of the match was, does Dean Ambrose have any opportunity to survive more than 4 seconds against the beast, Brock Lesnar, right? And the match, the buildup, all of it was headed towards that direction, right? Dean Ambrose had a strong showing, quote unquote, in that he didn't lose like Ricochet or Kofi Kingston did, but everybody knew Brock Lesnar was going to beat this jobber, right? Now imagine that shit. Imagine that shit not booked that way. Are you kidding me? It has to be booked that way. How can you not book it that way? It's Brock Lesnar, motherfucks. Of course he's going to destroy Dean Ambrose, right? But things have changed, and I don't like them. And this has been 25 reasons why Orange Cassidy sucks ass, motherfucks.